Okay, so we're back here on the Luling Eagles Sports Broadcast, and now we have a special guest here. Oh, did we see if we wait a minute? Second here. Bye. So trying to let's see here. We got yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay, there we go. We got it. We're just a little bit delayed here, I believe is what it is. Now we have a special guest here. Let's see here. I get it back where I was. Bear with me, Rodney.
We're good, man.
They were not going.
See here. I believe. Hang on. I think I hit the wrong thing. So trying to hit the mute button. There we go. I think I got it now. So sorry about that. We got a special guest here with us on our broadcast, Rodney Rodriguez. We've had Rodney on in the past. He's with the Revved up ATX and 104.9 The Horn in Austin. So Rodney, welcome. Always good to have you on, sir. Appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Thanks a lot, Eric. Always glad to be a part of anything that you're working on. And I got to tell you, with you guys there with the Thump, I mean, to me, I have, I grew up right down the road there from you guys. And to me, it was always a really good time to get to Luling and get on out and just enjoy the watermelon thump and everything that happens with that. I mean, because to me, no offense to the Chisholm Trail Roundup, but that right there with the thump and Chili Spiel and everything that goes on, all these great smaller town events. I mean, to me, that's what it's all about. And when you guys get together doing stuff like that, I mean, that's really cool, and really proud of you guys over there in Luling. I think it's going to be a great weekend coming up for you guys next week.
Yes, sir, for sure. So I'd always like to have you on. We could talk about so many different things with you, and one of them being racing. And so I know you had talked a little bit about here recently on your show about some of the racing events that have been going on lately, Indy 500 and things like that. So can you, for our audience, could you kind of go through some of the things that have been happening both in, I guess, NASCAR and on the Indy circuit, and then whatever else you want to bring out just for our listeners and viewers that might be interested?
I think we're in a really good place right now because with the place that we're at, with COTA, that has really changed everything that we're able to do around here. I mean, there was never really an opportunity. I mean, if folks wanted to see NASCAR, they had to go to Fort Worth or whatever the case was. But now you can actually go to Elroy and see a NASCAR race or see Formula One and just everything that happens right there. But the thing is, right now, I think a lot of folks don't understand with the stick and ball sports, with football, baseball, basketball, and even hockey and all these different sports, they have it's not a short season, but it's a heck of a lot shorter than what racing is. I mean, I know with NASCAR, they fire off in February and they're racing up until November. And then all points in between, you have, like you were talking about there, with the Indy 500 and everything, all those big events. And it's really a cool thing because I think what racing affords people a chance to do is when you have that downtime, like right now, we just completed the College World Series is going on right now. TCU's playing right now. Texas just missed out on that, but what racing is going to allow you to do during the summertime before you can get ready for football, it's something that I think folks can hone into and just kind of try to understand what's going on with it. And I know it's different. I mean, it's one of those things. Racing and hockey are kind of the same thing, where it's like people kind of get jazzed up about it, but they really don't understand what the hell's going on.
Right.
So it's
I believe my partner in crime here would wholly agree with that.
Yeah. It's those secondary sports. I know with high school, up here, we get a lot of folks that get fired up about lacrosse, And it's like, I don't really understand the aspects of that. And I know with you guys here in Luling and Lockhart, I mean, I always thought that cross country was such a big thing. I mean, because with Luling and Lockhart, man, we had the best teams that there were. And, you know, people are like, what's the big deal about running, you know, miles and miles? It's like, I don't know, but we got state championships, and that's what
several of them in our case,
right?
Yeah. So I'm not sure if he's watching this today, but Coach Mike Barnett, it was a big part of those state championships that you're mentioning here in Luling, and so he is right now has a summer job in Colorado, so he's enjoying his summer over there. So just living the good life, you know. So yeah, I understand what you're saying. And speaking of that, Rodney, too, that I was told, I think it was just yesterday, that we're going to be having a meet here this year. It's one of the first times we've had a actual cross country meet here in several years. So we're really looking forward to that. And we are going to have some of the coaching staff on at 7:30, I believe. So if you're not busy there where you're at, you might want to check that out. We'll be here on YouTube as well. So definitely invite you to join for that. So and then also too, you know, you mentioned about the high school, and I know you're involved with, I believe you're still covering Westwood, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
This year's going to be a little
okay. Well, you want to talk a little bit about that if you can?
Yeah, you know, this year, you know, just with racing and all the different things, I've actually been, you know, blessed to get out and do some national stuff on
oh wow, great,
in different places with car racing. So I will definitely be in high school football. I would assume that a lot of that's going to be with Westwood, but it's going to be a little different than it has been in the past. But it's one of those things to where I can't step away from that. I mean, because for me, you know, I mean, Eric, I don't know if you know this, but I mean, back when I was, you know, in junior high and you know, a freshman in high school, I mean, I would go out and do PA at the games and do different things right there. And even, you know, my junior and senior year, I would go out and do PA for the JV stuff. And that's really what kind of built the whole the flame in me to all of that, to where at whatever point.
Yeah, I was aware of that actually. I've been. I'm sure you were aware. I'm just listening to all the Chosen the Horn for quite some time now, and it's funny because I was hoping to have Colonel Craig Flowers on today, but of course he has a prior engagement, won't be able to join us. But he sent me a text, or actually it wasn't a text. What it was is that I had a church retreat last week, so I wasn't able to listen to his show or any of y'all shows, and so I went back and I was going to start podcasting all the shows, and I started with his. And he, you know, happened to turn it on. Within about the first 2 or 3 minutes, he mentions E from Luling, and then I was like, he's giving me a shout out, and I'm not even listening to it.
Wow.
So he didn't know that. Yeah, he's giving me a shout out, and you know, I really appreciated him doing that. And then all you guys all the Horn are really wonderful. And then I've always been big supporters of y'all's, and you know, of course, now you and Colonel Flowers and some of the other hosts there have been big supporters of ours here.
And I do want to tell you that, because I mean, a big part of that is with, you know, everything that happens there with the Horn, whether it be with the Horn or with Coke FM or the Bat, you know, any of those signals, that is local radio. I mean, it happens to be in Austin, but I mean, we're going head to head with, you know, KLBJ, and I mean, all these different Case and KVET, you know, all this stuff.
Yes,
and we are very much just hometown people. And I think that's where we take a lot of pride in getting to do, I think the Saturday lineup and Sunday, you know, with Adam Wagner and all those guys.
Yes, sir.
It's to me, I mean, you know, with Aaron and Bucky and all those guys that do their stuff on the weekday, you know, that's great. But that weekend lineup is where, I mean, we're just regular dudes. I mean, we just get out there and we get a very finite amount of time to get out there and talk on the radio about stuff. And that's where it's always like guys like you that support that, and that's really the cool thing, because you can't do that with Clear Channel, you can't do that with Emmis, you can't do that with iHeartRadio. I mean, you can't do that with those people,
because you can't. Yes, sir.
They don't understand. And that's where, you know, to me, being a homegrown dude, I mean, to me, that's where doing stuff like this with you, I mean, to me, it's like, man, this is cool. This is pardon my friend,
for sure.
This
Caldwell County. We're Caldwell County. We represent the South End, and you represent the North End.
There it is.
So,
there it is.
Yeah. So, yes, sir, for sure. And I thought I had seen recently, and I think I've heard you talk about it on your show. Are you going to be doing getting behind the wheel, doing some driving, going back to racing? Are you going to be doing all of that?
Yeah, I'm actually driving, and that's kind of the bad part, because it's going to be next weekend when you guys are on your Saturday there for the Thump.
Yeah,
I'm going to be not too far down the road in Edna. It's kind of right there. I mean, to me, it's kind of funny when folks talk about, well, I got to go all the way to Luling and Edna and Goliad and all this. I'm like, man, are you kidding me? We used to do that on a Friday night with a 12-pack of beer. I mean, that's but, yeah.
It's funny is that my partner and I were just before you came on, we're just talking about that very thing. He's got a colleague that he works with. He does a little independent wrestling for RCW. It's a River City Wrestling out of San Antonio. And he was a colleague. We're trying to get her on. And she's like, well, yeah, Luling's a little far for me to go. It's like,
it ain't.
Look, I make this drive all the time, several times a month. You're going to try to tell me? That's what people, when I used to commute, of course, I've been working from home now since the pandemic, but when I was commuting to Austin, people were like, over there, it's like, how do you do it? I'm like, well, I mean, it's not that hard. You just get the car, you just start it up and you go. As long as you know where you're going, that's it, right?
For so long, Eric, I lived there in Lockhart, and I would drive to North Austin off of Breaker Lane, and a lot of fun. I mean, it was 35 miles, whatever it was, and it's like, how do you do it? And it's like, I don't know. I just get in the thing and drive.
It just happens. It just happens.
Yeah, I just show up. But back on the track next Saturday, and it's I kind of laugh about it. I was talking about it on one of the shows that I do last night, because Dale Earnhardt Jr. He races one time a year, and I am hardly not a Dale Earnhardt Jr. But it's like I get to race one time a year, and I got a lot of folks that they just let me show up there, and we're going to be bringing in folks from all around the region that have been racing champions, and just inviting all the fans. My dad, happy birthday, Benny! His birthday today.
Wow.
Father's Day coming up on Sunday. He's going to try to make his way out there to Edna as well, and be my crew chief.
Great. Well, I will say, Rodney, please be safe. I know how racing works and race cars works, and you mentioned Dale Earnhardt Jr. I know what happened to Dale Earnhardt Sr. and how easily things can change on that. So please be careful.
No,
have you back on. We want to try to have you back on when we do our fall special with the football. And speaking of that, can't let you go right now though without talking a little bit. We're talking about Caldwell County. Like I said, you representing the North, and us representing the South. What are you kind of looking for this year out of? Like in our case, we're coming off a playoff berth that really we thought maybe was maybe a year or maybe even 2 years soon, because we weren't really looking to make the playoffs, but we went down to Marion, and we went took a big lead on them early. Of course, they came back on us and took the lead late or kind of early in the fourth quarter, I guess. And then we, of course, block a punt. And of course, if anybody that wants to see it, it's posted on our website, which is LulinEaglesSB.com. And that was the play of the year for us. That's basically that. And then the defense in the last 2.5 minutes or so of the game kind of put us in the playoffs, to where, of course, we were defeated by Jernigan in that first, that by district round. But what are you looking for? Because I know they're pretty excited there in Lockhart too with Coach Todd Mavis, and I'm sure that our friend Emilio Sarge Juarez can very well speak to that. But what are you looking for out of the Caldwell County football teams here in 2023?
Well, I got to tell you, I think both teams and both programs are going in the right direction, and I was super proud. I think I told you this last year, is that I think with you guys, it was so much a matter of where Luling went in and you put the right people in place, because that's really the whole thing. Because you can do whatever you want. You can have, and I've watched it in so many different, oh, sorry, I've got dogs in here.
Oh, okay, no problem.
you can have the most talented players that you're going to find, in a program. But if they're not buying in, if they're not doing exactly, the things that they need to be doing, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem. And I really think that with you guys, I know Lockhart's doing well, but I am, and again, not just because I'm on your thing.
Right, yes, sir.
I am more impressed with what Luling is doing right now, because it, to me, it's you've got that coaching staff in there, and they're putting these kids in the right direction. And this whole thing starts way before you ever get to varsity. It's all the way down to middle school. I mean, you got to get them
Yes.
in, you got to get them in the buy-in, you got to teach them the system, you got to do all of that. And I really think that's where it seems like to me that Luling is doing what needs to be happening right there, and building for the future. And to me, I think you guys are 2 years ahead of schedule, in my opinion.
Yeah, yes, sir.
It's
Absolutely.
my
I
opinion.
do believe
Over,
that.
yeah, over in Lockhart, here's where things are different in Lockhart, because with what they did, I didn't expect that last year. I was thinking that they were about a year or two away. I know it's great leadership, everything there as well. I mean, they've got good people in place. So, but Lockhart, here's the difference, because with the playoff run that they made, because they got out of the by district round, and they made it to the next round. Now you're under pressure. You got a lot of people coming back. You got some good kids coming back. I wrote an article about them in the IHS Fan magazine that you can find.
Okay, sure. Where can folks find that, Rodney? Can you?
Yeah, and that's where Lockhart's kind of in a different place, because now it's like, okay, you did something. How are you going to back it up? And I think where the difference is right there is Luling. It wasn't expected. Lockhart, it wasn't either. But Lockhart, I don't know. Lockhart's in a gauntlet at this point. And I'm hoping that they're going to be able to continue doing things that are going to keep moving that program forward. I will tell you the one difference that I love about Luling as well. It really seems like to me that the support system of the Luling Eagle football program and Luling Eagle athletics, they are behind that. They are behind that staff. They want them. I mean, it's like, okay, this is great. I've lived in Lockhart. That place scares me. So we'll see. But I think they're both in good places. They're both in good places.
Can you point folks to that article you just mentioned? Where would they go to find that, Rodney?
That thing right there, if you go to on Twitter, if you go to @IHS Fan, and I should have done one on y'all too. Dang it. I should have done one.
Hey, we still got another 2.5 months. I'm sure that Nate Langford, athletic director, I could get you in contact with him. I'm sure he'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
We can probably certainly add something to the online version of that. It's a print magazine. It's kind of the old school to where you actually get a magazine in your hand, and you go to Bush's Chicken, which I guess for you guys the closest one is in San Marcos.
Yes, correct.
And you grab that magazine, it's in your hand, and you just kind of go through there, and we do all these different things in there. But it's that's really the thing to where with me right now, it's starting to get cranked up because 7-on-7 is happening. I was actually at Cycle a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking. I ran into one of the Westwood parents, and she's like, "We're going to state in 7-on-7," and I'm like, "Oh, well, that's good." I never did 7-on-7, so that's where this stuff has changed so much.
Yes, sir. Oh, great. Yeah. Just looking forward to everything coming down the pike. Of course, you mentioned, like, in the meantime of us getting the football, enjoy the racing. And then I guess pretty much other than that is like Austin FC in this area, soccer, or like the SAFC, I believe also San Antonio has their soccer team as well. So I kind of just have to do the things, but it's just as kind of, I think I've heard some of your colleagues on the horn, that dead period, they've kind of dead period right now for, just waiting for the football season to roll back around, and where we can all just get, like you said, geared up and just ready to go, just ready to.
That kind of frustrates me, Eric, because they talk about the dead season, but I'm an Astros fan and I love baseball.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
And to me, like when they're talking about there's nothing going on. I mean, you look at the AL West right now. I mean, you got the Rangers that are doing really cool things, and the Astros are kind of struggling right there. And with everything that's going on there. And I mean, to me, there's never really, especially with racing, that there's never a dead period, but there are a lot of things. There are a lot of things and lots of things to do around here. I mean, because even in the Austin area, I mean, I know this weekend over at Q2, You got a rugby thing going on out there. So that, there's a lot of things to do. So, in my opinion, I mean, and then you tie in the high school sports part. I mean, we just got done with the state tournament. There is never a dead period. There's always something going on.
Yes, sir.
I know it's all
Yes,
about
sir.
football. I know it's
For
all
sure.
about football.
For sure. Here in Texas, it's football's king. Yeah, for sure.
There's never a
And
dead.
definitely looking forward to that. So, well, I'm going to leave you with this question, Rodney. On NASCAR, of course, you mentioned it is a long season. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to remember because I was writing a lot about it last year. I believe Chase Elliott won the Cup last year. Was it not Chase Elliott? I believe it was. So anyway, I guess what I'm leading into is, what have you seen so far this year in the NASCAR season, and where do you see it ending up in I guess it'll be October, November, because like I said, long season, but where do you see it ended up at the end?
Yeah, this year's a bit different because we're still dealing with this new car, as they call it. Last year we had 17 or 18 different winners or whatever was going on. This year I think we only have 8 or 9, and we're about 9 races out before the playoffs start. So I think some of the guys where we had Ross Chastain was a guy that did really cool things last year, and Daniel Suarez, all these different dudes. Oh, I'm sorry, Suarez. All these
okay. Yes, sir. Let's get it right.
that did really cool things. I mean, now we're coming back down to the cream of the crop. Chase Elliott has been out. He was hurt in a snowboarding accident.
Okay.
Then he got suspended for trying to wreck Denny Hamlin. So I think we're into a really nice run to the end right now, to where it's going to be the same players. I mean, Joey Logano's sitting there just waiting to pounce. And Logano was a champion last year. It was actually Joey. So Joey's sitting there, and I mean, you have all these guys. I mean, it's the last run for Kevin Harvick. If he could win the title, boy, that would be great. But that's not going to happen. So it's going to be a fun run to the end of this. And the main thing is to where this sport has changed so much. Social media has radically changed NASCAR to where it's like just like football.
Yes,
And I do say NASCAR and the NFL, same thing, because it's driven by social media. And that I think we're going to have a fun race to the championship. Lots of guys involved. I mean, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Actually, you hit on something, and I guess let me ask you. I lied to you. I thought that was going to be the last question, but let me ask you. I know you're an avid Dallas Cowboy fan. So, what are you looking for out of the Cowboys in 2023?
How much time you got, dude?
About 4 minutes.
It's one of those things I've said for the longest time, Eric, to where I really think the Jones family are more concerned about growing that brand, which it's the biggest brand in sports. Selling tours, selling jerseys, all of this. I mean, the product on the field now, we have a change to where Mike McCarthy is going to be calling plays. I don't necessarily know that was the problem. I think the defense is in a great place. I mean, with the pieces in place right there. I thought Kellen Moore really did a lot of good things. I think Kellen Moore is probably vetoed more than we ever know. I like Dak Prescott. I think he's a great leader. I think he's a good quarterback, but I just don't think that he's a guy that's going to take us to where we need to go. And I was joking with our man Ty Henderson that produces my show and produces B&E and all that.
Right. Yes, sir.
I heard them talking during the week, and it's like, okay, so McCarthy's going to build an offense around what Dak Prescott does well. And I said, okay, so he's going to build an offense around a lot of interceptions and getting sacked. That's not going to be anything that's going to do a good thing. So, I don't know, Tony Pollard. I mean, it's good to have him right there. I think I think Deuce Vaughn being drafted by the Cowboys is something that's kind of floating under the radar. I called a lot of games that that Deuce did, or that Deuce played in over at Cedar Ridge, and I think that's something that could be exceptional. I'm not sure if CD Lamb is going to be good enough to be the number one to get us where we need to be. So there's lots of stuff right there, but it all comes down to 2 people. Three. It comes down to Dak Prescott. It comes down to Mike McCarthy, and then of course Jerry Jones. So I don't know. The Eagles are really good, and I dislike them as much as I like Jalen Hurts. It kills me to say that. So
yes, sir. So, well, Rodney, tell the folks where they can find you, our audience, on your radio show, your normal, and then actually your Revved Up stuff as well.
Yeah, for sure. The Revved Up show, Mondays, every Monday right here on Facebook, or we're on YouTube, but on Facebook, you can go to Revved Up Sports Show on YouTube. You can catch that show at revvedupsportshow.tv, revvedupsportshow.com. You can hit the link right there and it takes you right to the live feed of that. I do a Thursday national show on Racing America, which is one of the largest providers of short track racing in the country. That's on Twitter at Dirty Air Racing. And of course, anything, with the hornfm.com and Revved Up ATX live local digital every Saturday morning, right there on 104.9 AM 1260 and all the podcasts at Horn FM.
Yes, sir. And you'll be on in the morning, right? 11
How
o'clock
about
in the
that?
morning.
Yeah.
You and
We'll be on
Bobby
tomorrow.
Chappie, Lockhart's own Rodney Rodriguez right there. And of course, Bobby says he has some area ties as well, Martinell, and now I believe he lives over in the Kyle, Bermuda area somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So,
And
Rodney,
folks, check in tomorrow, because what I want to do tomorrow, and you guys can be on the text line. I want this to be a Father's Day show, because my whole racing adventure has been because of my dad. We're just talking about daddy-os. That's what it's all about. It's going to be a fun show.
Great. So please join Rodney for that tomorrow. Yeah, Rodney, thank you for telling me that, because I always do listen to usually I'm normally exercising when I'm listening to your show. So, not just you, but Colonel Flowers and of course, Tyler Campbell on after you. So, again, Rodney Rodriguez there from 104.9 The Horn, Revved Up Sports Show, RUSS, so for short. So, Rodney, again, thank you very much. I got another Queen candidate in the wing, so we're going to go ahead and let you go, but appreciate your time.
Hang on, Rodney, before you go, being a wrestling guy, I have to give mad love to the NWA belt hanging up behind you.
You like that?
That's pretty awesome.
I tell you what, right there, that's 10 pounds of gold right there. And
I grew the man's championship.
Dude, I grew up, with NWA, with Mid-South and Southwest and World Class and AWA and the old WWF.
Oh, yeah.
And that thing popped up on a feed. Buy this belt. I paid way too much money for it. I didn't even realize it was one of those Amazon purchases that you do, late at night. It showed up and I'm like, I can't return.
If you're ever in town, stop by our restaurants, Uncle Wiggly's Wieners. We got a bunch of them just hanging up. So
dude,
they're his.
We are wrestling people. So
dude, that's awesome. I will definitely take you up.
Yeah, and then of course he has a colleague there. I don't know how often use him, but Stu Myrick is another colleague. Yeah. So it's a colleague of his on the Horn. So
all right.
So definitely. So definitely, Rodney, when you make it in, and please be safe again with your racing and everything. And we'll let you go. And thank you, Rodney. Appreciate it. Again, Rodney Rodriguez from 104.9 The Horn.